Broadcasting live from the Georgia Technology Summit 2025 at the Woodruff Arts Center, this is Business RadioX. And now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, broadcasting live from Georgia Technology Summit 2025. So excited to be talking to my next guest, Caroline Cochran with Qgenda. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, for folks who aren't familiar, can you tell us a little bit about Qgenda? How are you serving folks?
Sure. We are a healthcare workforce management platform focused on, making sure healthcare providers are deployed when and where they're needed. So we do that through a number of ways, whether it's scheduling for physicians, nurses, staff, the credentialing, onboarding of those individuals as well. So we create a whole workforce platform.
So what's your backstory? How'd you get involved in this line of work?
Oh, and in HR?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Well, so I'm the Chief People Officer. I have not been a career-long HR professional. I started my career at a number of technology public companies in the compliance audit space, but I found myself with the opportunity to hop into HR in my last role during the pandemic. So go big or go home.
That's it.
Yes. So drinking through a fire hose there, but it was a really great opportunity to build a team, which I have done several times, and kind of focused on the new way we work. But since then, I evolved and stepped into Qgenda about 2.5 years ago to help them scale and grow as they have been. We have been growing rapidly over the last few years, gone from 300 employees to almost 800 now. So that's been my role and how I arrived here.
So why was it important for you to get involved with TAG?
Oh, TAG. So I've known Larry for a number of years, the TAG CEO.
So he voluntold you?
Yeah. He voluntold me. No, it was actually what after I stepped into HR as the Chief People Officer at my prior company, I had the opportunity to step into TAG with Larry and team and haven't looked back.
And then for folks, do you mind giving kind of the elevator pitch when you talk to other people about TAG and why it's important to get involved?
Oh, yeah. I think, why it was important to me, and I feel like it would be important to others too, is just having the ability to influence, the technology ecosystem in Georgia. Mm-hmm. We get a seat at the table, which is really unique. Driving, whether it's, through the education, how we're going to be educating and offering and developing talent in the Atlanta space or in the Georgia market more broadly. But really, it's got that critical role of influence. And that's why it's so important to me.
So have you had a chance to work with other organizations like TAG and some of the other work that you've done?
Yeah, sure. I've done a number of others, maybe focused on women in technology and other kind of executive leadership type organizations in the past.
Were they
as well.
around the country, or have you primarily worked here in Georgia?
Yeah, primarily here in Georgia. Yeah.
Now, you're a speaker as well today?
I was, yes. I just stepped off the stage. Completed my duties.
What would you talk about?
I spoke on and introduced a video that is sharing the 2030 vision for TAG. We've been developing this over the last couple of months as a member of the board. We've been creating, what's our vision for 2030? What do we want to be? What do we want TAG to influence? What do we want to drive over the next 5 years?
So is there can you share a little bit about what you talked about or what you saw?
Yeah. So there was a great video. I was very brief in my comments on stage, but fabulous. The video shared just kind of the pillars of what that vision is to promote, to connect, and to elevate throughout the technology ecosystem in Georgia. I have a particular passion where I'm spending a lot of time helping with drive this vision is around education. And just kind of, you can imagine with my role as being a Chief People Officer,
sure,
but wanting to develop talent in Georgia. So I'll be spending a lot of time with Loretta, one of your previous guests, kind of working on what that can be, how we can partner with educational institutions around Georgia, how we can get maybe potential certification programs in place and help prepare the workforce for the future.
Now, is that going to involve maybe expanding or just kind of not just thinking that university is the only path, that there's going to be we're going to have to kind of cast a wider net and really kind of reach people where they are in terms of certifications and things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not just university based. Absolutely. So there are many programs. My company's actually gotten involved in an apprenticeship program. So we have a number of apprentices at Qgenda that are focused in the technology space and have different technology roles. So that's one really important arm of kind of what we do, and through Tag ED as well. So yeah, it's broad and not just focused on universities.
Can you share maybe some best practices or some ways to leverage that apprentice program? Like, I know that you're implementing it in your firm, but if somebody hadn't considered it or thinking about it, what are some do's and don'ts? What are some best practices?
Yeah, well, I think what we did, and I think what others should do could do too, if they're considering something like this. First of all, it's about building a pipeline of talent, right? And it's also about supporting folks that are learning and new. So there's kind of a twofold benefit to it, really. And we looked across our organization at the teams that are growing, at the teams that are innovating, at the teams that have the ability and the cycles to teach at the same time as executing whatever their mission is or whatever their function is. So we have two roles now. We'll be broadening as we move forward, but within our kind of back office IT systems as well as our development teams. And it really creates a great opportunity to teach someone your company, your methodologies, your way of doing things. You're also educating them, giving them a real life experience. And we're actually working on hiring one of them full time right now too. So just kind of considering, you have to have the time to invest, and also the opportunities where, you could have folks that have been trained generally, but haven't had the chance yet to really focus on whatever subject matter area that you're offering.
So how do you kind of teach a person, an apprentice, maybe differently than you would teach an intern or how you would teach an employee? Like, how do you kind of, at least within internally, have that type of leadership that can instruct that individual? And it's probably slightly different in each one of those constituents, right? An apprentice versus an intern versus an employee.
Yes. Yeah. So, interns, you kind of you let them get their feet wet here and there, right? Give them a few projects. It's short term too, right? So they've got like 3 months, and then you let them go. But from an apprentice perspective, there's just you can immerse them immediately into your team. You can immerse them immediately into whether it's a particular project or a process, and it's on the job learning. Which, if you look at how adults learn, 70% of it's on the job, right? You learn a little bit in the classroom, maybe a little bit on your own, but really it's on the job learning. And so when you have somebody who's full-time, immersed in your team, with a leader who has the capability to mold and shape and develop, which is a really important part of it. You really can't just put these apprentices and think that they're going to be successful on their own.
Forget it.
No, it's not set and forget it. So it takes time and investment, and it takes someone who has the ability and the passion to do that. But really, it's not too terribly different from like a new employee. But you are starting more with basics. You need to have some very detailed actions, some very detailed support for them as well. So it just goes a little bit deeper and requires a little bit more investment than maybe your average new employee.
So when you have kind of an apprentice lined up, how do you find the appropriate person in the organization to kind of manage that? And is there kind of some training that you have to do to help them, get the most out of the apprentice?
Yeah, so it's new for us, right? So we just started doing this year, but we did create. So we're very familiar with our people leaders and the teams within our organization. So we targeted a few areas, a few folks, and say, "Are you interested in this?" And our development team resoundingly yes, because
they're hungry for it.
They're hungry for it,
Right.
and their talent is not readily available in the development space, right? It's limited. So, and it's very attractive too to be able to mold somebody, right, to exactly what you want them to do, as opposed to having someone who may have
to fix some bad habits.
Yeah, exactly. They may have done things differently in another role. So that's what's so appealing. But we focused on finding the managers in our team that are already really capable managers, right? And do that well, just
and
as
that's
part
a pro
of their day
tip
job.
there.
That's a pro tip. Yeah,
choose wisely.
Choose wisely. Choose their leader wisely. But But yeah, it's been a fabulous experience for us. And I hope we're going to be we have one now, like I said, two now in two different areas, but our development teams, we're going to be expanding it.
So you're pretty bullish that this is something that you're going to be able to expand.
Very bullish. I mean, we're just hiring one now as a full-time employee. She's been with us almost a year. So it's a year-long program.
Right.
So you do really have that
look
time
at it long-term.
Absolutely.
This isn't an internship over the summer. This is...
Right. This is not an internship. It's a commitment.
Right. On both sides.
Yep. Both sides. It's a full-time job. It's a commitment. And it's an opportunity to prove yourself, to learn, and get a full-time role.
And you're happy because now this person is ready to go.
Ready to go. They're ready to go. We've trained them for a year, right? We know that they are motivated. We know that they're capable. And we know that they know what we want them to do.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So if somebody wants to learn more about Qgenda, what is the best way to do that? Is there a website? What's the best way to connect?
Yeah, we have Qgenda.com as our website. Also, we're very active on LinkedIn, and all of our open roles are posted out there. So yeah, check us out.
All right. Well, Caroline, thank you so much for sharing your story. You're doing such important work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. This is Lee Cantor back in a few at Georgia Technology Summit 2025.